Welcome to the Unshakable Business Mini-Series, where we interview one of our business leaders in our community and unpack how they get more profit, productivity, and purpose out of their business and all around them. So today, I got a little treat for you. Serial entrepreneur, Sheila Bell from South Carolina. This is the second person, by the way, in this series that it's in South Carolina. Quite a cool treat to have you with us. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. South Carolina is awesome. So
Awesome.
yeah,
That's
for
right.
sure.
You're not originally from South Carolina, are you?
I'm from New York.
New York.
I'm what they call a damn Yankee.
For some reason I just don't remember that, but you got like Giants stickers and stuff on your vehicle. Yeah.
Don't
It's
tell anyone
not
that.
It doesn't take long to realize that you are not necessarily native to South Carolina originally, once
Right.
they get to know you a little bit. But I know you've settled in, got deep roots now in South Carolina. But anyway, tell us a little bit about yourself in terms of what industry you're in and how long you've been. And I know this kind of a unique question because you're not just in one industry, are you?
No. So I always joke and say time served in real estate, but I've been in the real estate market or in the real estate business for 21 years next month. Got my license in '04,
What were you
actually.
like, 12?
Yeah, I was actually. That was before they passed child labor laws.
I'm just playing. Carry
Um,
on.
and then about, March will be this month, holy crap. 6 years ago, I had the opportunity to buy a gym. So I jumped on that and that's going great. And I'm about to build a new one, bigger, standalone, my own space. Because being in real estate, I know throwing money to pay someone else's lease and their mortgage is no fun. So I'm going to build
Yeah.
my own
Yeah.
building.
We'll probably get into a little bit more about that because I know that's a big part of what you and I are working on a consistent basis. But that's kind of cool. So 21 years ago into the residential real estate, and I know you do some commercial as well.
Yes.
And then 6 years ago, you had an opportunity to purchase a gym that was already there. You purchased it. Um, I don't know if this is the right time to jump into it, but how many members did it have then, and how many does it have now? Maybe to kind of give us a sense so we get how it's been.
So the backstory to the gym is I knew the owner through real estate. Her husband and her are builder developer. They, build commercial buildings, things like and homes. So I knew them through the real estate. And her husband built some strip malls and some standalone buildings in Elgin, where my gym is. And they started leasing them out, putting businesses in there, and the space that she put the gym in, she just said I just kind of needed to fill the space, so we put a gym in there because there wasn't one in Elgin. That was, I don't know exactly what year. I know when I bought it, so it was 6 years ago, so 15 years ago she put the gym in there because it was
Yeah.
9 years.
So how many members did it have when you took it over? You remember?
81 members. And when I tell
81.
you that it was stuck in 1981, 81, I went in there on a Saturday to clean up, because I do not claim to be tech savvy or anything like that. But 37 zip ties to put all of the wires running through that office that had everything tethered to the wall, 37 zip ties on a Saturday.
So, so we took
Try
over
to
a gym.
clean up the mess.
I think it's phenomenal, by the way, that you just said, let me take over this gym and buy it out from somebody. The reason I say that is because there's a lot of financial gurus, if you will, people that are advising people buy businesses right now because there's a huge transfer of wealth with the baby boomers, people that are, getting up into their high 60s, 70-year olds, and they don't want to keep their business anymore, and they don't have kids that want to take the business either. So they're just either going out of business or just fizzling out. It makes more sense for you to take over a business that is in operation. So you had 81 members,
Yes.
and today, where are you at now in terms of just number of members?
As of this morning, 455.
455.
Yes.
That's a little bit of a leap in 6 years, no?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Let's
And
not
that's
forget.
it's not, I mean, of course I do advertising, but that's what without doing as much as I could or should, but it's just because of the small space that we're in. I didn't, want to put existing members out by,
Right.
putting a
Right.
bunch of bodies in there.
Right, right. Well, it still speaks to how well you took care of everyone because more people told more people, and then continued to grow. And I know I'm on this side of it, so I know a little bit more about kind of what you've done even more recently to get yourself in a position to have, a large, well, let's just say expensive. It's in the seven figures as far as what the size of the gym you're going to put in for that community, so that they can have a place to come and work out. But I think I'm getting ahead of myself with the whole business thing. Let's back up a little bit. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Sheila, in terms of you personally. Like, who are you? Like, married? Got any children? I know we've already established you came from New York. Like, when did you move to South Carolina? Kind of give us a little bit of backstory.
Okay, so I met a boy. It all started with a boy. Went
I
to
have three
college.
daughters, and I don't,
Yep,
carry on.
yep. So I grew up in New York, upstate New York. So, anyone from the city calls Canada where I grew up. Syracuse to be exact. Grew up listening to my grandfather's stories of being a New York City police officer my whole life and was fascinated. I loved his stories. Like I could sit there and listen every day, all day. So, of course, I grew up wanting to be a police officer. Like that's what I wanted to do. And that was my dream. And graduated high school in June, moved out in beginning of August with my own apartment, went to school full time, worked full time, and got my degree in criminal justice. Started taking the physical fit, started applying at different uh, places and got accepted to this for New York State Troopers. The more I thought about it, I was like, gosh, I just don't want to be cruising the interstates. That's not like I want to be in the thick of it. Like I want to carry guns and shoot people, and that's what I want to do. So I went smaller, applied for counties and the city, and then got accepted to the Syracuse City Police and took the physical fitness test twice and failed it. Of course, just coming out of high school and 2 years of college, because I only had my 2 year degree, still packing on that freshman, 40, 20, 50, whatever that is. Um, failed the physical fitness test twice.
Mm.
Didn't realize how horribly in shape I was not, any of that. So I was finally, it was just like a day when it was one of those, aha moments. And I said, there's no way I'm going to not do what I've always dreamed of because I'm not in shape. Like, this is pathetic, So I kind of smacked myself around. And a friend of mine who I don't know that she's ever stepped in a foot in a gym since this day, back in 1998.
You're going to date yourself now.
1998. She said, come to this kickboxing class with me. It'll be fun. We went. She went one time and I kept going and going and going and loved it. Just absolutely loved it.
What did you love
Went so
about it? Was it like
much.
the challenge? What was it that you loved about it?
I didn't know until I was an adult that I like contact sports.
Okay.
like, like I did,
Okay.
cheerleading, gymnastics, track, all that in high school.
Right.
But I like to hit things and kick things and, the watch it. It was just awesome. I loved it. So I got certified, started teaching there, and then was actually passed the physical fitness test again because I, of course, went back and took it again the third time. So I was going to the Syracuse City Police Department Academy when I met a boy. He was from Laura, South Carolina, had a daughter from a previous marriage that lived here. And, his goal was always to move back closer to her. We'd been dating for a while. And I was like, well, of course I would go. And then kind of everything happened. And I said, well, I'll just join the police force there. So we moved to South Carolina and actually moved to Charleston. That's where we first started in '01 and started, applying to the police department there. Being that it's not civil service, it's not you do ABC, you're going, you pass ABC or whatever. It was like, it's a employee at will state. So
Mhm.
they can just not like your eye color, your hair color, whatever. And, so I was just running around, and year and a half trying to get on with the police force. And Finally, someone was like, Sheila, you're a Yankee. That's what you're a Yankee.
Wow.
So yeah. Um, that might not have been it. Might have, I mean, I passed the test, the interviews, that kind of stuff, but it was always something. So I decided then I was going to go back to school and get my business degree. So went back to school and got my business degree.
And then I assume shortly thereafter you got into real estate somehow, right? Because that,
Yep.
if
So,
my math is lining up.
yep, the boy, again, we got married in Charleston and then he took a job with Blue Cross Blue Shield that moved us to Columbia. So we came here. I was working there at Blackbaud, which was a nonprofit at the time, doing accounting and stuff like that. And I was contracted back for a few months and then driving back and forth. I was like, this sucks. And it was actually my ex-husband that said, you would be good in real estate, Sheila. You should look at getting into real estate. And I was like, what? I don't
Yeah.
even like people. And he's like, you'd be great at it. That's what's the best thing about it is that you don't, I'm like, I don't know sales. I don't sell. He's like, that's the best thing about you is that you're not a salesperson. And that's the best kind of salesperson.
Yeah. And by
So
the way, just for
the
context,
one, go
just to
ahead.
throw this out there, I think before we got on camera here earlier, I had asked you the question, what do you think your gift is? And the way I described that to everyone is what's something that's easy for you, but other people think is hard? And what was your answer? Do you remember?
Sales is sales. I don't look at it. I didn't know that I was good at it. Because I don't ever look at it as sales. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
it somebody putting it into perspective for me to say, Chili, stop, look, like
Hmm.
look at what you've done. Like this isn't normal. People don't just sell, people don't just grow a gym from 81 to 455 members in 6 years, part-time, right?
Right.
Because I'm still doing real estate and I'm still a single mom.
Right.
Um,
Yeah. So single mom, by the way, for those of you that are listening, she
oh
did
yeah,
say ex-husband and she just said single
yes,
mom. So somewhere
yeah,
along the way, right? So you got into real estate. I didn't mean to jump you off track, but
yep.
that's where you were. You decided, okay, maybe I should get into real estate.
Right. And went to real estate school, met Mike Taylor, thought I was going to go to Century 21 until the girl I was in real estate school with said, you need to meet my cousin. She said, his name's Coley Dyson, and they're opening a new office in Northeast Columbia, an ERA. I was like, I've never even heard of them before. Century 21 was probably, we had that in New York and all that, but I'd never heard of ERA.
Yeah. Well,
So
just
I
for
went and met with
context, though,
them, and
ERA is another larger brokerage across the country. It's one of
they're
the,
all under the same umbrella.
yeah.
ERA,
Yep.
Coldwell Banker, and Century 21 are all the
Yep.
same
Yep.
company.
Yep. Yep.
But it
So
was
you went
him.
to ERA,
Yeah, it
got your
was
real
Coley.
estate license, started doing real estate.
I had my first closing after 3 weeks of being licensed. It was a little $61,000, no, $63,000 condo. And I
Wow.
remember Coley Dyson he's passed now, but he cried in my interview. That's why I went to that company. He had such a passion for it.
Yeah.
He was such a loving, nurturing
Right.
guy. He just loved helping people.
Right.
And I was like, I don't want to talk to people. I don't like to talk to people. And I have a huge fear of public speaking. Like I took it twice in college and it still cannot.
And yet,
And yet, yes, I still push myself to do it. But
and yet you've had at least two opportunities that I know of in the last
yeah.
6 months.
So I remember I went by the office, just got my license. So I was still trying to get into, the little, what do they call them? Where the cubicles are, the bullpen. I was in the bullpen. And I came out, it was on a Saturday or Sunday. I came out and got my car and I saw this lady pull in, get out and walk up. That's when you had the boxes in the front of the offices with the magazines.
Hmm. Hmm.
You pull the available
Yeah.
homes.
Yeah. We're dating
Walked up to the
ourselves
front of the
now. You
building
know
and
what that
opened it
is.
and pulled it
Yeah.
out. And I was like, sitting there and I said, oh my God, clearly she wants to buy a house. Oh, I gotta go talk to her. I don't know what to say. I was so nervous. And I walked up and I was like, hi, are you looking for a home? I said, I saw you got and she said, yeah, I am. So I started talking to her, got her information, and we ended up cash buy, sold a condo in 3 weeks.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Amazing. All right. So, we got started real estate. We fast forward nowadays. If I'm not mistaken, didn't you rank like number 5 or something in your entire brokerage for last year?
Or
4.
four,
Oh,
Spencer. Number four.
My extreme apologies. You were
Jeez.
in the top five, but you were number four.
Yes. Number four.
All right. Well, by the way, just for context, how many agents is in this brokerage?
200.
Yeah, like 200 agents. So that's amazing. Number four out of 200, and you run a gym.
Yes.
So I that's kind of where you are right now. Things haven't always been, and I wouldn't say they are easy now. Uh, Tell me, I guess, what were some of the challenges that uh, you encountered along the way, right? Both externally, like what some of the challenge you had in the real estate side or the gym, whatever works, whichever one you want to tackle. And then
Mhm.
what were and then internally, like some of the inside problems with that too, kind of what surfaced along the way for you?
And still to this day, my issues are time management is, by far my number one thing that hurts me because when I give something, I give it 100%. And when you and I
You're
had
the
our,
only one, Sheila. You're the only one
yeah,
that has that
yeah.
problem.
But literally, so I struggle when I can't give somebody 100%. You know what I mean? And these are both my businesses. They are going to fail on my watch. They're going to make it on my watch. So, but I only have 100% of me. So it's so hard because when I'm giving 100% to real estate, I see the gym slip in. So then I switch and I get 100% to the gym, and then I see real estate slip in. So it's this constant back and forth trying to juggle it and make both succeed and do well, but it's always just me. Like I have a big problem with asking for help and letting go of things to let people help me.
Mhm.
Some say a little bit of a control freak, I would say, but they're wrong. Uh, so that's my biggest problem. So literally would need to sit down and okay, I'm gonna sit here at my desk. I'm not gonna let myself go get distracted. My daughters are here during the day or whatever. Like I go to my real estate office and work, and then there's realtors there that distract you, but you can shut your door and
Sure.
um, till like noon, and then 1 o'clock I was going to the gym because until a year ago, I would say a year and a half ago, no, about 2 years now. So before, 2 years ago, it was just me. I was signing up people, taking all the calls, taking all the emails, all the
Mhm.
text messages, all the issues,
Mm.
cleaning, all of it, everything.
Mm.
And it was a lot. It was a lot, especially as it started to grow. And I
Yeah.
was like, I
By the way,
cannot.
just for some context, because there's some woman out there listening to this and going, "Wow, that's a lot." Well, let's add on to the heap. Your girls are what age range? You got more than
18,
one.
18 and 14,
Yeah.
teenage
So
girls.
2 years
So
ago would have been 16 and 12, right?
yes.
So the
Yep.
girls I know usually are involved in either some sort of a sport or like mine were dance and marching band and all these. So in addition to maintaining all the things you were doing at the gym, you were also shuffling them around like a taxi service, or at
Yes.
least making sure that they were getting to where they needed to be and that kind of thing, right? So you were
Yes.
doing all of that. What shifted your thinking along the way because you did eventually hire an entire group of people.
Well, not to bring the moment down, but we had a pretty traumatic loss 2 years ago when my girl's dad passed away.
Mm.
So I mean, like any mom would, I don't care about any of the business. I mean, I did care, but my girls came first. I had to bring it home and they really took the loss hard, of course. My oldest harder. We had a lot of issues that we had to deal with probably for about 2 years. So I'd say about a year. So it took that to kind of slap me and say, well,
Mm.
they're both going to go right in the tank, right down the drain if you don't hire somebody to help you because you need to be at home with your kids. And so that's when I kind of, brought people in and started scrambling around
Mhm.
to help me because I didn't have a choice at that point. I
I
mean, I
think
didn't
this is
before, but it wasn't,
and this is what I was
a
going to point
choice.
out of a lot of business leaders, they get to a certain point, they're like, oh, they know what most people know what they should be doing, they just don't do it, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes it takes an external force, but either way, it always comes down to what I call a leverage moment, right? You got to get disturbed enough to make a decision. And sometimes we make that happen ourselves, and so we're in control of it. And sometimes, like in this case, it happened externally and put you in that position and pushed you over the edge to do what you probably already knew all along. You should
Oh,
probably hire
sure.
people, right?
I mean, one of the first things I learned in real estate was a realtor doesn't hire an assistant until they've needed one for probably 2 or 3 years,
Mhm.
which is, it's true. It's 100% true.
Can be, yeah. I think it's a production discussion, right? So they could actually hire one pretty soon if they, you are, until you hire one, you are the assistant.
Right. You're
Yeah.
everything.
So you made the decision, you started hiring, and today you have kind of give me a snapshot of the gym in terms of how many people and kind of what you got going on there.
We've got, hold on, wait, one, four, five, six staff in the office and five staff, one general manager, kind of office manager. He's overseeing a lot of it. And then four trainers.
Four
So we got
trainers.
four
Yeah.
trainers. Yeah.
This is all preemptive too because of the gym that you're going to build. Right?
Yes.
We're structuring a lot of things. Um, what did you try to do before that maybe didn't work in terms of, and you may have already answered that through all of what you were saying, but kind of what, with the whole time management thing and juggling multiple things and keeping it all together, what did you try to do before that maybe didn't work? If somebody was in that same situation and kind of, what would you say, don't do this because it didn't work?
I, well, I've gotten where I'm at today by winging it and by the luck. No, I'm just kidding. But I've not had any. I hired an assistant, like a full-time assistant, and paid her a lot of money because to me it was a well-spent expense because the more I pay, keep her, and then the money would justify itself by making more.
Hmm.
Um, it was, it failed miserably. Like she was my personal assistant, but she helped me in real estate. She helped me in the gym. Like
Sure.
she kind of helped me in both positions.
Right.
Not everybody can do that. I know not everybody can do what I do. But now that I look back, I don't I don't think necessarily a failing was her fault. It was my fault because I had expectations of her.
Mm.
Um, she's never going to do it the way I do it. But that wasn't my expectation. I didn't have a playbook to give her. Like I didn't
Right.
have a process to say, okay, when we write an offer, this is all the things that need to happen.
Hmm.
So, but I didn't know I needed it because I was always just doing it, right?
Yeah.
So when you try to hire someone to help you, you're expecting them to do it the way you do it, but you don't have a playbook to give them so that you can all be on the same
I'm
page.
going to take a wild guess that you probably learn by doing. Is that kind of your natural way
Oh,
of learning?
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay.
That's how I transitioned over into commercial real estate.
This is what a lot of leaders do make that mistake, right? Business owners, they think that other people learn the same way they do. And so it's all I got to do is just bring you in and show you what I'm doing. Like all you got to do is pay attention, ask questions, right? So ask me
Right.
questions. Yeah, do whatever you got to do, but you can figure this out because you're good at figuring things out. But I would say 70% of the population or more doesn't have a strong sense about figuring it out. They
Yeah.
just they expect you to kind of give them the framework and make sure that hold them accountable and so on through the process. We are I don't want to get off on this track, but we are conditioned to that with our school system, right? Growing up, it was you do these things, you be able to check these boxes and do these types of things, you can pass this and go to the next thing. And that's
Mhm.
kind of how we're conditioned. But some of us didn't grow up in an environment that was super structured very well, and we had to learn how to figure shit out, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's how you and I met.
Yeah. Well,
Was we connected on that level.
right. Well, maybe go. How did you and I meet? Do you remember that when that came about?
Oh, the waters parted. No, I'm just kidding. I was hoping I said that before you took your sip of coffee because
Man,
then
I'm gonna tell you something. When I came to that event, and I'm gonna let you tell the story, but when I came to that event in the very beginning of the day, it was like 150 people in the room, and then
Mhm.
I was like the last person. And as
We
the
were
day
done.
And by
I
the
was checked out. I was ready to go. I was
There was
already
like
starting.
30
I see.
people left in the room by the time I got up, and I was like, "Man, this sucks. I could have, number of people I could have impacted. They'd have
It
put me
was
early."
crazy is I would have already left by then. I don't know why I didn't, because even my hairdresser is like, Sheila, you're like a child. Sit still. So I'm like, it's like 2 hours my limit, and I'm ready to go. And I don't know why I didn't get up and leave, but you
Tell
came on, and I
tell
was
the
like,
story because you actually got to speak a little bit too at that. So
yes.
tell a little bit
Oh
about how we
gosh,
met.
yes, yes. That was my first TikTok I think I ever did. Was sitting in my car, nervous, ready to throw up on myself because I had to speak in front of all those people that I've known. I know all of them, but public speaking, I don't do well.
Right?
Um, but yeah, so it was a sales meeting, but had special guests in there and stuff. And you were one of the special guests that my broker brought in, and um, we connected. I knew I liked you because, in real estate, people are always trying to sell you things and, hey, you need to take this class and that class and this and that, whatever, whatever, whatever. And I'm always like, whatever, whatever. I don't listen to any of it, none of it. But you weren't salesy. Like, I didn't even know you were selling anything until you got me. I'm just kidding. Um, but you told your story about growing up poor, with your moms and how, you guys didn't have much and you had to struggle. So when you got into real estate, you worked your ass off and I think I actually raised my hand and said, they call that poor kid PTSD because, you hold my finance guys like, chill, why do you have money in your savings account? Why aren't you? Because I know where it is and it's not going anywhere. That's why. He's like, we call that poor kid PTSD. And it's true.
Right.
But you and I connected on that. Like grew up really rough in New York, poor as could be, and just pretty much raised my younger brother, and vowed I would never put my children through the things that I've been through. So I've done everything possible to not do that. So that's why I just, and awful to say that in 21 years of real estate, I've never had a business plan. I know my brokers are probably rolling over.
Well,
Coley Dyson is rolling over in his grave right now because
if
he's
I
like,
if I recall, I made a absolutely ridiculous offer with this huge amount of stuff that I was giving away for like $1,000, and you didn't bite that. You came up to me afterwards and said, "I think we need to meet."
no, I wrote it on the paper.
Yo, you wrote it on the
He sent
paper?
around the paper. And I was like, wonder how, because you were talking about processes and how things need to flow. And if you skip steps, then you're never going to get to what you're trying
You
to
have to
do.
backtrack.
And the
Yeah.
whole time I was never thinking real estate. Like I wasn't thinking, I was just thinking of the gym because I knew that I needed to get processes in place, especially opening the new gym in January. And I didn't even know where to start to do it. So I thought you were specifically real estate person. So that's when you passed that paper around, I
Oh,
was
that's
like,
right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're right.
you
Yeah,
can
you said
help
because
me. I
you weren't
have two
sure whether this would
businesses.
help. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then
And
you
then
and
you
I met
called
in a
me.
coffee shop,
Yep.
handle business. Started moving some things forward. Maybe share with everyone some of the actions, some of the new things you've been doing. Because since then, not only are we working together one on one for you as a whole, but you've also brought me in for something I don't advertise usually. I call it the business booster, right? It's a three
Yep.
month process where I physically come to your business and we work on some things and train your people and that kind of thing. What are some of the new actions you've taken or plan to take place now that we've started working together?
Um, so I mean so let me rewind just one quick second. So the biggest aha moment was when our first coaching meeting. Um, you started asking me, what are your sales numbers and how with the gym and what does each membership work to the gym and all this stuff that I probably was like, I have no idea. Like, and it felt stupid. I'm like, how can I own this gym and not know these? But I didn't know that I needed to know them until you told me I needed to know them. So, that was a huge thing for me to say, you know, there's a lot. I mean, yes, I own a gym, great, whatever. But there's a lot that I don't know. And I've never claimed to know everything, but I've been successful in real estate for 21 years, so I can be successful. And I could, I mean, I could be successful in real estate or in the gym, and I have been, but never going to get rich, and then, not that I want to, but I should say the gym would never reach its full potential if I didn't have your help to figure out the things I needed to do to put in place to get there, if that makes sense.
No, it makes perfect sense. And if you remember, you and I, at the very beginning of this conversation, we talked about these baby boomers that are getting out of the business or they're just letting their business fall apart. The reason a lot of them haven't already just sold it is because they don't actually have a system. Because if they leave, their business is
And
gone.
they don't even know how to tell somebody
I
to do
just
this
look
or
at the real
that.
estate industry itself. You've got 70 something year olds running around your market right now having to sell houses so that they can make their mortgage payments.
Mhm.
Right? It's no different than the guy that owns the AC company or owns a gym, right? And they've been running it all along. They've done well and they have a decent lifestyle. Like you said, I can create a decent lifestyle with but I don't have an actual business. I just have a hobby thing over here that I just handle
Mhm.
and handle, pay for my lifestyle expenses. But it's not really anything that I could just step back from or take a
Right.
trip and not be worried.
Right. And my goal is to, when you asked me, and that was another thing was when you asked me what my not my goal, but it was like
Your anchor goal probably, like long
my
range.
acre goal.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I want to have a beach house for me and the girls. And yeah, I do. But my goal is to have this gym. Like, this is like my anchor goal. Like,
Let's
this is
let's let's be honest. Let's be straight. It's
huge.
not just having the gym because you're going to have the gym. It's having the gym and owning it outright so that you don't have any.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
And
that's
then
the real anchor.
having it such so that it can run itself and I can go buy me a little spot on an island somewhere
There you
and
go.
be drinking umbrella drinks and
There you
relaxing.
go. Yeah,
It's all going.
yeah. Again, and by the way, those of you that haven't put the connected the dots, if you haven't noticed, there was a great deal of pain around physical fitness, right? When Sheila was younger, right? Trying to get in and do what she always dreamed of doing. And now here we come full circle. She owns a gym. And it's one of the reasons why people are attracted to the gym is because of her story, her personality, how much she believes in health, how much she believes, like she walks the walk, right?
And, I love telling moms that come into the gym, I bought the gym truthfully. Like, I didn't even think about my own pain from, back in the day. But at the time, I had two very young teenage daughters that kids are assholes. They're mean, right? And I wanted them to grow up around being healthy, not skinny. We've always had that conversation. I'm like, yeah, the Victoria's Secret runway show. Yes, they're too skinny.
Yeah,
Don't be skinny, be healthy. We've always had that conversation. So I wanted them to grow up around that lifestyle that it's natural and they don't feel weird going in a gym or,
right.
that kind of thing.
Well, I applaud all of that, obviously. So that we can let's take the last 3 to 5 minutes here, because we never really answered the question. What are some of the new activities? What are some of the things you're implementing to kind of get away from this? I know you had mentioned you got better with your numbers. Maybe share how you're
Yes.
doing that, and then
Yep.
you
And
are
actually we're keeping track of numbers and we've got a goal board in the gym for the staff. So how many memberships are we trying to reach this month and where are we at today and where do we need to go and breaking it down because
yeah,
they're high school kids and they don't, not that they don't care, but we've created, like, with your help, we have fun little competitions like who can sign up the most in a month, and they're very competitive. They're all athletes and
they're all
they
high
go
school
crazy with
athletes.
it. They love
Some of them are
it.
going to college for athletics
Yeah,
too. Yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah.
So,
You
making growing memberships um in the forefront, like that's important. And it was important to me before, but it just happened,
yeah,
right? It just happened naturally. I wasn't focused on it.
yeah,
But I have to be focused on it because I'm about to spend a ton of money
mhm,
and that's what's going to pay the mortgage.
right.
So, it has to be a business.
But that clarity has driven you because it's not hard for you to figure out what needs to be done because that's how you're wired. But you
Yeah,
needed the clarity to be able to do some of these activities now. Um,
right.
in addition to that, I'll kind of fast forward the conversation for everybody. That I have seen you begin to document some things. I have seen you structure, even some of the simplest things that most people wouldn't consider, like how is a tour actually done at the gym, right? It's not like we actually have a process for that now. We could train somebody new.
Right.
Um, we began paying attention to our outreach programs in terms of how we communicate with our database, bringing more value. We are we're finding a way to get increased revenue through our current database, through our current membership, with getting more PT so that our trainers are have a better lifestyle, right? Because it they're not going to stick around. And
They're
maybe
not-
if you're a business owner, by the way, and you're watching this and you're thinking, well, that I don't own a gym. Your salespeople, if you're not actually helping them succeed, they're not going to stick around. They're going to go somewhere where they can, because it's the intangibles typically that hold people where they are. It's the recruiting, right? And
Think
it's
about it. I mean, look at Chick-fil-A. Why
Mhm.
do people go work at Chick-fil-A? Why do they never leave Chick-fil-A?
Yeah.
Because they make a lot of money and they're very, very good to their employees.
Yeah. But you say a lot of money. The truth is that they could probably go work in another food industry and probably make more money, but they prefer to be in that environment because of the intangibles,
That's right.
right?
Absolutely.
So that's it's the same thing. But I've seen you make a lot of changes over. Well, I mean, I wouldn't say I've forced it, but because I can, I'm
Oh
there and I'm
gosh,
talking to
yeah.
your people. What's that?
Yeah, and that was the biggest thing. Like when I hired you to come to the gym and kind of what'd you call it, the business
Business
booster.
booster. Yeah.
I didn't even know what I was buying. I just have complete faith in you because I've said here's a perfect example. So I was trying to get one of these trainers that's at another gym, right? He was mine first, by the way, but I didn't have the people for him because I just didn't have the members that wanted that type of training. So he had to go to another gym. The gym is failing miserably, and I hate that. I mean, I really do. It's across town. It's not my competition. Like I'm not black voodoo chicken them, nothing like that. But I went over and he was walking me through. They had like 20,000 square feet of gym.
Hmm.
They're in an old Kmart. They have two huge group fitness rooms. They have a chiropractor in there. They have more floor space. I'm like, how is this gym failing? How? With all this space, like I would give anything to have a quarter of it. And his business, he hires his friends. He doesn't really take it seriously. It's just kind of fly by the seat of his pants, which I did for a minute, but it was I saw that and could point it out I knew exactly what the issue was because of what I've learned from you coming and, having my calls with you and you coming to the gym to train the staff. I told them, I'm like, they're like, we're leaving this summer for school. Yeah, but this is just life lessons.
Hmm.
Like how to put anything that you do has a process. Like you can't jump from here to here and not
Yeah.
and sustain it,
Well,
because you don't
and
even
they
know
did
how
get
you got
life
there.
lessons, because we actually, like the last time I was there, we did 2 hours on advanced communication, which I can promise you they won't even get that at college. So
Exactly.
yeah, I love to see the growth that we got going on and what we're doing. What do you anticipate is going to happen as you continue to move forward? What do you anticipate your business is doing?
Growing. No. Yeah, for real. Like I want to obviously the gym, we're gonna open the new gym prayerfully in January, but maybe February or March. Um, Goal is to double the memberships. I say double the membership. Yes, double the membership, but kind of where we're stuck right now with the same space, we need to increase income
Mhm.
without the actual bodies.
Yep.
So we're, really pushing PT. We're going to rent a space and start doing group training, things like that.
I for let me say this to you. I would have said this in one-on-one with you too, but uh, big giant gyms without a bunch of people in it gives a perspective or a perception that something's wrong.
Mhm.
Little tiny spaces where there's a lot of people inside makes you want to know why are they here, and I want to be a part of it too. So there is a marketing angle to having a smaller space.
Yeah, I get it.
I don't
Yeah,
want
I love pulling up to the gym on an evening and there's cars parked down the road
you
because there's
you
not enough
you
parking
think
spots.
about this. There are Chick-fil-A, you just mentioned them a minute ago. Why do we still go there when their line is outside and all around the, we still go, right?
Yeah.
There's a, you don't, but there's hundreds of people that are eating lunch there right now, you know, that they do this because they see other people too. Yes, the product is good, but
What am I
they
missing? It's like, well, what am I going to miss if I
exactly.
don't come in
So
there?
there is an advantage to having a smaller space and giving more value because that gives them a perception of I belong here. I'm among people that want to be here. Think about some of the,
Well, what if we do a big gym with space on the inside but a small parking lot? Would that do the same thing?
no, it wouldn't because as soon as they get into the gym, they're gonna be like, wow, this is really nice, but I don't feel a community here. And that's
Yeah.
the community aspect is the big deal that we
Yes.
consistently are pressing on here because that's what you were built on was community. So we want to maintain that,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And just for anyone listening, a community is not just a place where you go and get stuff. Communities are usually a place where you can also contribute.
Yeah.
So when there's a give and take from the membership and the gym itself, and you've got some, that creates a community, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, we could go on and on. I really appreciate you being on here, Sheila. We could probably talk for a long time. Both of us and our ADHD will take us for hours.
Yes. We'll go
We're not
all
going to do
kinds of
that
places.
to everyone. But anyone that wants to get in touch with you, are you okay with me putting your information in the description below?
Absolutely. I would
Yeah.
love that.
So if you guys are, you know, if you happen to be in
And in
the
the new
Elgin,
gym, not to interrupt you, I'm sorry, but in the new gym, we're going to have, I mean, we do online training now. You don't even have to be here in Columbia. And then in the new gym, we're going to have virtual classes, or not virtual class, but like all of our group classes are going to be streamed and stuff like that. So
okay.
definitely.
So I will put some links down below. Sheila, you're gonna have to send them to me, what you want me to put into the description.
Okay.
Um, Also, of course, if you have a real estate need and you want to, you know, connect with Sheila, I will put her information in there also. I don't, you know, I don't pay people to do these interviews, so that's my way of doing my best to, you know,
Wait,
share. Yeah, the Zelle is on the
I'm
way.
just
Just give
kidding.
me a minute now.
I'm just kidding.
By the way, this lady's a hustler. She's got what was that say on her shirt on your cup?
Boss lady.
Boss lady. Yeah, mine says hustle, right? The she's a hustler because I made an offer to her and she's like, "Well, I got tires and rims for your Jeep if you want it. If you wanted me
You
to do that
bought
deal,
them.
you want to do that deal, you can buy my rim." And I thought about it. I was like, "Okay, we'll put a time frame on it. If you want to do what I offered you, by the end of the day, I will buy those rims and tires." And guess what, ladies and gentlemen, I have a set of new shoes for Ginger, my Jeep. So
Yes. Can't wait to see him on her.
yeah. Anyway, all right, friends. Thank you for being here, being a part of the Unshakable Business Mini-Series with Sheila Bell in South
Yes.
Carolina in the Midlands. She's typically on the northeast part of it, but she covers all of the Midlands. So um, we will we will catch you the next one. Keep well and keep moving forward.